Are you ready for a pay raise? Because your employer is ready to give you one. At least that's what a newly released survey says. Wages are set to rise more next year than during any other year in recent memory. Why? Which workers aren't getting a raise and which workers are getting the biggest ones? Employers are facing a collision of 3 different headaches, with 2 bonus wildcards on top of that no one is really talking about just yet. Hit that like button if you like wildcards. The 3 headaches are an increasingly choosy workforce that is constantly looking for greener pastures, an unprecedented shortage of workers in the market, and inflation increases not seen since 1980s. These 3 factors sound familiar to you. It's because they are the same factors that drove the wage growth in 2021. And what have we learned in the last few months? That the inflation is not transitory, right? Jay Powell has come out and said, retire transitory, he said. I've been saying inflation isn't transitory all year long. You know that if you're one of my subscribers. Rising CPI is hitting American wallets hard. Energy prices are up, car prices are up, gas prices are up, food prices, even the price of price tags is going up, and employers are raising wages to keep pace. Remember, these wage increases are still leaving workers net negative after adjusting for inflation. 5 to 6% inflation is bigger than 3 to 4% wage growth. So for 2022, employers are saying they plan to increase wages 3.8% on average. These are private employers, and 39% of them said that inflation is partly why they need to raise those wages. What's interesting is that the opposite happened during the inflationary period of the 1970s and 80s. Wages didn't keep up with inflation, and wages weren't revised to account for rising prices facing consumers. Thanks to Rick Reeder of BlackRock for sharing that insight with us. So how does the 3.9% rise in wages forecasted for 2022 compare to past wage growth, you might ask? And don't forget to hit that like button if this is your kind of video. Every like I get lowers inflation just a little bit. Check out this chart. The answer is that 3.9% wage growth is high if looking at the years since the financial crisis. But for the 10 years prior to that, 3.9% is about how much wages grew annually on average. But the data goes even deeper than that. Workers who switch jobs tend to receive higher pay raises than workers who stay put. The Washington Post cited data from October of 2021 that showed a 1.4% delta in wage growth between those 2 groups, with those who changed jobs banking a 5.1% raise. Women are out-earning men in terms of wage increases too. So does that mean it's a good time to change jobs? Maybe. I mean, the data says you'll get a bigger raise, right? Well, hold your horses, because this isn't anything new. For 25 years now, job switchers have gotten bigger raises than job stayers. Think of it as spending more money on your first date than on your 10th date. Employers are looking to impress those new applicants and new hires, and applicants can leverage their experience to land that new job and higher wages. Have you switched jobs recently or had a first-hand experience with wage growth since the pandemic began? Let me know in the comments. I would love to read your first-hand account. And what about those 2 wild cards I mentioned, the ones you hit the like button for? Remember that my subscribers get a wild card 3 or more times a week. That's how often I release a video. The first wild card asks, where do union and non-union jobs differ in these stats? Union jobs are traditionally thought of as higher paying jobs with great benefits, but some are saying union workers are being left behind in our current wage run-up. Complicated collective bargaining agreements aren't built to quickly respond to worker shortages and inflation that we're experiencing today. Some speculate this is leading to more worker strikes around the nation. One of the most powerful union groups in the nation is UAW, of which automakers like GM use for their workforce. And at the other end of the scale are non-unionized Tesla workers. Now, Elon Musk has been getting criticized for years about working conditions at his factories. I can't say if they're true, of course, I'm not there, but low pay for Tesla workers has been one of the loudest criticisms. Wasn't it interesting to see this exchange between Andrew Ross Sorkin and GM CEO Mary Barra, where Sorkin said that Tesla workers actually make more than the unionized GM workers, a stat later backed up by Musk himself.
That on average, Tesla employees who are non-unionized, peers on an hourly basis may be making more money than unionized workers, for example, at GM.
You know, I'd have to see the information because it's not just the wage per hour, it's the benefit.
I have to admit, I was surprised about this. What about you? Let me know in the comments below. The other wages wild card is the vaccine mandate. Not only are companies competing against each other in a tight labor market, but they may need to raise wages internally to convince their existing workforce to comply with the mandates and stay employed. I'm not bringing it up for political reasons, but for logistical ones. Should these national vaccine mandates be upheld in court, millions of American workers will need to decide either get vaccinated or find a new means of income. Is it possible to convince vaccine holdouts with pay raises? What are the alternatives? These are sticky questions with sticky answers. Take Raytheon, for instance, the defense contractor that makes Tomahawk cruise missiles. Their CEO said as much as 3% of their workforce might be terminated if the mandate is upheld. These are skilled positions too. People in the top of their field, engineers, machinists, irreplaceable people. Can Raytheon increase wages and convince those workers to stay on board? They may need to try. Don't be surprised if we start to see wage growth numbers diverge in 2022. A divergence where the most skilled people in the workforce outpace the wage gains of the lesser skilled. Companies need to retain their top talent. I hope they're ready to get creative. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.